Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram. Namah Shri Shankarananda Guru Padambujanmane Savilasa Mahamoha Graha Grahaika Karmane. So, Annamaya Kosha is not Atma. Pranamaya Kosha is also not Jadatva. It is no Chaitanya in it. It is Jadam. Manomaya Kosha also is not Atma, because it is modifications, changing. Now we have to study 7th verse we just entered. What is it? Together we will chant 7th verse. Leena suptau vapurbodhe Vyapnuyadanagraga Chichayopetadhirnatma Vijnanamaya Shabdhabhak. See, Vijnanamaya Kosha is what we saw yesterday, Buddhi. That, what is Buddhi? In Buddhi, the Paramatma is reflecting. Okay? So there is a thought, a particular thought, vritti. In that vritti, the consciousness is reflecting. Reflection means like electricity comes and reflects in filament, old bulb example. When current reflects in the filament, it glows. Current has Nama Rupa, it is not having current. But the soon it is touching the filament, it is expressing as a glow. Exactly same way, the filament you take as vritti. When the pure consciousness comes and reflects in that thought, the buddhi vritti, That vritti in which Paramatma is able to reflect. उल्टा बोल रहा हूँ दोनों. That vritti which has got the capacity to reflect the pure consciousness, that is buddhi. So buddhi vritti. In buddhi means what? In the buddhi, Paramatma is reflecting. In the buddhi vritti, the vritti you take. The thought is called buddhi vritti. In that buddhi vritti, Paramatma is reflecting. That is called buddhi. Yesterday what example I gave? The disc example. That portion particularly where the disc is formed, you can treat it as intellect. And that glow, it expands and occupies the whole body. It is called Chetana. If the whole body it is not occupying, buddhi can't function. The awareness that Chetana, which is all pervading in the body, Anakagraga, right from the toe to the head to toe, it is pervading. Intelligence or Chetana is pervading. Every cell it is pervading, glowing. So, Bhode in the waking plane, in the waking state, sometimes they have the flight track above our head. Landing track it is, path. In waking plane, what the buddhi is doing? It is pervading the whole body. Suppose your body is so fat and long and tall, it pervades. So, Bhode in the waking plane, Vyapnuyat. Vapuhu Vyapnuyat. Vapu means body. It pervades the body. From where to where? Head to toe. Okay. Yesterday we saw one thing. What is Vijnanamaya Kosha? In where Kartrutva Bhava, doership is born. Desires are generated in the mind, but doership is in the buddhi. Okay. Now, Bhode Vapuhu Vyapnuyat Anakagraga. And in deep sleep state, what happens? Leena. In the deep sleep state, it becomes unmanifest. It merged in avidya. When you deep sleep state, the intellect merges into avidya. Therefore, in deep sleep, you cannot discriminate, no? The discrimination is in avidya, it is merged. Now you say, when Jivatma is not there, Jivatma, because where is Jivatma? In Pañcadaśi only definition will come somewhere in some subsequent chapters. Because Kutastha, all with technical terms will come in subsequent chapters. What is Jivatma? Jivatma, as I told you before, it is a combination of thought plus the Kutastha Chaitanyam, the reflection of Kutastha Chaitanyam in the vritti. So, original consciousness plus the medium of reflection plus reflected consciousness. All these three put together is called Jiva. What did I say? Original consciousness plus reflecting medium, vritti, thought, plus reflection of the consciousness, reflected consciousness. All these three together is called jiva. So who is karta here? Actually, doership is buddhi, in buddhi. Now, for example, ध्यान सुनिएगा. There is an example given by a Mahatma. An old type's house, before the birth of electricity. Some rooms are well ventilated, some go down type, typical dark rooms are there, created. Veranda is different. In you go into South India, you find such houses now. And I have seen such houses in my childhood where totally pitch dark it is. There is no light glows. But what they do, and in the center of the house, open. Again afterwards kitchen comes. In the center the sunlight ventilation comes. And in the evenings they can sit and chit chat also. That kind of a well ventilated houses are not there. Now we are locked in flats. So the charo or high. Now what they do in the daytime, they have to work and take out some grains and all. So they put a mirror and they have adjusted what time, what they. So they put a mirror and reflect the light into the room. And that beam of light illuminates the dark room. Now I will ask you, who is reflecting, who is illumining the room? Before you jump into conclusions, first listen. How come sun is illumining? Sun is not illumining directly. But without mirror, sun cannot do anything. If you say mirror is reflecting and illuminating, then night also you should illumine. If you say sun is illuminating, then why mirror remove it? So neither sun can directly illumine the room, nor mirror can directly illumine the room. Only these two together can illumine the room. So who is karta now? From one angle we can say Parameshwara is doer. But Parameshwara is akarta. Like sun is not illuminating. Okay, Jiva is karta. Mirror is illuminating. He also cannot do anything without the reflected light. So this combination is there. The reflection of the sun in the mirror, where the junction, where mirror and the light are united there, where they are together, there kartrutva bhavana is born. Without Paramatma's reflection, kartra bhavana is not possible. In the pure Paramatma, there is no karta bhav. In the only buddhi, they cannot be karta bhav without the, because the buddhi is merged in deep sleep state, lena suptau, no kartrutva bhav. Think. So therefore, there is in that vichitra, not vichitra, in that very special combination. Okay, sunrise are reflecting in the medium, but are they merged they become one? No. The sunlight is, nature is different. This is matter, that is pure light. They cannot be mixed. They can't be mixed also. So, such a mysterious it is, very interesting combination. That there, the junction, the kartrutva bhavana is born. So, who is the karta doing now? Jiva. One who is identified with the kartrutva bhava is jiva. Is born. Entity is temporary. Entity is seen to be born. So, this jiva is having kartrutva bhava. So, chichaya upeta dhihi. So, this buddhi is always associated with chichaya, reflection of the consciousness. What is buddhi here? Vritti, thought. A particular thought which has got the capacity to reflect Paramatma, that is buddhi. That buddhi is chichaya upeta, associated with, like mirror associated with the reflected sun. Vritti associated with reflected consciousness. That becomes buddhi. But that buddhi, vritti is withdrawn, vritti aspect is withdrawn in deep sleep state. Lina suptau. When it is merged in deep sleep state, it is not there, then it is liberated. Jiva is not existing, so he is liberated then. He is not, the intellect is only merging, it has not been eliminated. It has not been destroyed. Not destroyed, I don't want to use. That it is not bhadit nahi hua. It has not ceased to exist. It is only merged temporarily in the Prakriti. So when the sleeping time is over, the vasanas are there. Vasanas will kick the intellect and they make you awake. Otherwise, if vasanas are not inside, they are not waking you up, you can never wake up. Interesting factor is, why are you waking up? Who is waking you up? अरे अज्ञान भाषा क्या है, नींद पूरी हो गई इसीलिए उठ गए, बेवकूफ की बात है ये सब। नींद पूरी हो गई तो उठाने वाला कौन है? Who knows that नींद पूरी हुई? किस जगह है आपको? वासनास। वासनास will जगह देते हैं. So this buddhi is chichaya upetaha, associated with the reflection of consciousness, and that is called intellectual sheath, kosha. Then it is not atma. Why? Lina suptau. Because sometime it appears, sometime it disappears. Sometime buddhi manifests, sometime buddhi goes into deep sleep. Sometime half awake in deep sleep. Nothing related to the outer world. Mind projects and some buddhi works something partially. So that means it is subjected to change. Sometime you feel that you are inspired to attend Pañcadaśi class, Sometimes you are not inspired to attend Pañcadaśi class. Why? Buddhi. That means Buddhi is not Atma. Think. Sometimes you are even charged to attend. Sometimes you are not charged. Then why did you come? The doubt will come. If I don't go, I miss. But I am not inclined to go. That is Sandigdha Avastha. Suffering. I don't want to go. Don't go. Give holiday to Swami also. No. I have to go. So that means sometimes want to go, sometimes doesn't want to go. Therefore, because of the dance, Buddhi is dancing, is unable to come to any decision. How many times you must have experienced? You go into kitchen to make a sabji, say for example, brinjal. Before cutting, you thought of frying. After cutting, you change the mood. Yes or no? Before cutting, I will fry brinjal. You have cut the brinjal. अभी कौन करेगा फ्राई तेल ज़्यादा हो गया कोलेस्ट्रॉल बढ़ रहा है चौंक लगा दिया no chutney piece. How Buddhi is changing? Therefore, Buddhi is not Atma. It is called Vijnanamaya Shabda Bhag. It is also not Atma. Now, what is the substance of mind thought? What is that mind contains? Thoughts. What does the intellect contains? Thought. Both are made up of thoughts only. Okay. So both are, and along with Ahankara and Chitta, we are not bringing those two aspects now. All the things are antarindriyam. It is called antakarana. Karana means instrument. Indriyam. Antarindriyam. It is called inside indriya. Both are inside only. Both are made up of same substance. Then what is the difference between these two? So here it says, कर्तृत्व कारणत्वाभ्याम विक्रियेतांतरिंद्रियम विज्ञान मनसि अंतः बहिश्चैते परस्परम कर्तृत्व कारणत्वाभ्याम विक्रियेतांतरिंद्रियम विज्ञान मनसि अंतः बहिश्चैते परस्परम. Now see, antarindriyam. Antarindriyam is antakaranam. Antarindriyam is inner instrument. Inner instrument. Antarindriyam, the inner instrument of knowledge which is there, antarindriyam. Kartrutva karanatvaabhyam vikriyeta. It is subjected to modifications. In the form of what? One is kartrutva, other is karanatva. Karana means instrument. One is karta, doer, and instrument. Think. A technician is there. A technician is karta. His instruments of spanner, screwdriver, etc. are instruments karanam. Stick and wheel is instruments. The person who is making the pot is karta, doer, maker of the pot. So, kartrutva, karanatva, these two intellect and buddhi. So intellect is called karta, kartrutva, doership is there. Mind is only the instrument of that doer. Doer needs instrument, no? So technically what we can speak about, the thought where the consciousness reflected, that portion I told yesterday, that is buddhi, that the mirror light example. That reflected light in the mirror is throwing light again on other things, no? So in the reflected light of that thought, right, which is throwing, other thoughts are illumined. Other thoughts are illumined, dancing, various thoughts are dancing. In whose light? The reflected light. The light reflected in intellect is again throwing it out. As a mirror, sun reflected in mirror, the light again thrown out on the other things. So in the mind, there is no direct reflection of the consciousness. In the buddhi, consciousness reflected. That reflected light falls upon, illumines the other vrittis. Other vrittis. So now one is divided. These two thoughts are divided. One is called kartrutva bhava is there, doership is there, and all other things are instruments of knowledge. Think. So intellect is associated with the doership, the doership is there, and mind is instrument, karana. Now, on this subject only, Puja Gurudev beautifully analyzed. To speak on these two, relationship between these two, it will take not less than 1 hour minimum. That too in concise form. What is the problem with us now? Should we spend some time on that? The problem is for all of us. Problem is your mind. Interesting construction. For all of us, problem is your mind. So for me also the problem is your mind. Anyway, okay, good construction. Very good English sentence it is. Okay, now mind is the problem. Mind, one master never likes the word control. He says, control is not the word. Because control is a negative word. Agree with me or not? Control means it is not a pleasant word, no? Do you like the control word? You don't want to be controlled by anybody. Think. None of your family members should control you. You will never come under anybody's control. Free me, independent I am. But if you want everybody under your control, Mahamaya it is. So this is how the fight goes on in every family. Who controls? The might. Whoever is powerful, they control the others. Then what word is best to be used with respect to mind? Regulate. He used to say word, regulate the mind. Regulate the mind means what? Discipline the mind. Discipline the mind means what? Mind should obey you. Okay. So one discipline is, whom should it obey? Next question. One cinema dialogue is there in Telugu cinema. The hero says, a very famous dialogue it is. Recent, for 5-6 years movie back, I think, 4-5 years back. Once I take decision, I don't listen even to me. So I will not listen to me also, my mind also. Once I take decision, even I will not listen to me. Who should control the mind then? Who should obey? Who should dictate, and then under whose control the mind should be? Mind should be under control of your intellect. Look, listen carefully. Control means your intellect should regulate the mind. Okay. Which intellect? Which type of intellect? So to control, because what happens? Mind challenges the intellect. And the intellect has no answer. Suppose Buddhi says, don't do it. Mind says, batao kyun na karu. Intellect has no answer. Or mind is obeying the intellect, but the intellect's caliber is so low. Intellect says, daru piyo, cigarette kao piyo, movie jao. Buddhi is guiding. उसको डांट के आओ. Buddhi is not telling. And mind is obeying. So two problems. One is the quality of the intellect, other is the quality of the mind. Mind is indisciplined, doesn't listen to anybody. Intellect has no knowledge, no substance, no deeper meditations, nothing is there. Intellect cannot guide the mind. Pakka. If your intellect is able to guide your mind so perfectly, there is no need for Chinmaya mission for you. You can simply tell the mind, shut up, and mind shuts up. But everybody says, how to control mind? How to control the mind? How to control the mind? You have to control, but how to control the mind? No knowledge. Now see, this is the condition of it. So intellect is very weak, like a drumstick. Mind is like a pumpkin. This pumpkin want to run. Who's stronger now? Pumpkin. So intellect says, don't, like example I give you. One morning, a very thin structure taking his Alsatian dog for a morning walk. So wife standing there and says, please take care. He says, don't worry darling, I'll take care of your dog well. She says, I'm not telling you. And this man takes the dog for morning walk, and the dog is deciding where to go and pulling the man. And man says, don't go, but going where dog is taking him. This is our condition. You understood? You, my boy, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there. He's going there only. While going there, he is telling, don't go, but going there only. So this is one problem. One is the intellect to go, pumpkin banana hai. Mind has to be not weak, strong. Decently strong should be, so that under discipline of the intellect. This is one chapter. Now, for further analysis, I am not doing now. It takes a lot of time. Now, another problem. There is a wide gap between intellect and the mind. So, imagine, look at my hand. Intellect is at point A and point F, B, C, D, E, छोड़ दो. और G लगा दो. G. B, C, D, E, F, 5. G में mind है. ये at the point of A intellect, at the point of G, mind is there. Okay? Now see the tamasha, what is happening. What is B, C, D, E, F? All the egocentric desires, your notions, your paradigms, your ideas, your judgments, your conclusions, your fancied notions, your stupid understandings, your egocentric desires, ego, is all these things kachara bhar gaya. Bharpoor kachara. Bharpoor bhar gaya. Now, what is the mind function? Mind is a receiving clerk. Mind receives the stimuli through sense organs, collects the data, and he has to submit the data to the intellect for decision making. So whatever the data is collected, it is processed through B, C, D, E, F. So G is send the data to intellect. Narayana. It is going through the data in between masala. So listen carefully. A data called X received by mind from sense organs, thinking that sense organs are intact without any problem in seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching and all. Indriyas are good, suppose. So data is as it is collected. Data called X collected. Now mind has to respond. Mind instrument, no? Doer, instrument of doer. So mind has, before response, it has to require a direction from the intellect. So X is passing through this data, X called data called X, passing through B, C, D, E, F, G in reverse order. B, C, D, E, F. F, D, C, B, etc. F, B, all those things. Now, when it is reverse order going, it reached intellect and became X dash. It is colored by in between. When it gets colored by in between and reaches the intellect X dash, intellect as such, intellect has no knowledge how to respond because you never trained it. Number one. Number two, it is not X, it became X dash. So it has to, if at all, it has to respond. It has to respond to as a solution to X dash, not to X. The answer for X dash will be given by untrained or trained intellect. Even if it is trained intellect, answer is wrong. Even if it is untrained, answer is wrong. Why? It is not X, it became X dash. And when X dash, answer is given as A dash. Thinking that X dash, answer is A dash. Again A dash passes through B, C, D, E, F, gets colored. By the time it reaches mind, it becomes A double dash. So X is the data received, intellect got X dash, A dash is the answer for that, A double dash is received by mind. You apply A double dash to the problem called X, burn your fingers and die. समझ में आया आपको कुछ? This is Nitya Yajna is happening inside us. Nityam Yajnam, this is happening. Why? Because of ego and egocentric desires in between the mind and the intellect. You may be in Pañcadaśi heard, Vivek Chudamani heard, Upanishads heard, Maha intellect, but ego and egocentric desires are not reduced. That knowledge is not going to be useful at all. In fact, it may create more confusion. So, Kartrutva, Karanatvabhyam, if you want to make intellect as a Karta, a wise Karta, you should feed the intellect daily basis knowledge. And that knowledge make you arrogant, that egocentric desires are growing in between. So knowledge is required. So knowledge is very dangerous. Without knowledge you cannot live. With knowledge there can be ego. Side effect of knowledge also is dangerous. Like cancer medicine, chemotherapy. Without chemotherapy you cannot survive. With chemotherapy side effects are horrible. Without knowledge you cannot survive. More you knowledge, you become more arrogant. You write in a book, so far in my life studied these books and completed. And go to a guru for certificate signature under the list of the books. A guru signed. You frame it and keep it in the wall. Okay, when is Kartrutva Karanatvabhyam perfect pair? Intellect should have knowledge, wise intellect. In between the layers should not be there. Minimum layer at least will be there a little bit, reduce the gap. And second thing, mind is trained, one is intellect has to be trained with knowledge. Second is mind has to be trained to obey the intellect. Intellect knowledge is there, mind is not listening. Then kya hota hai? Don't you know that you should not drink? I know, don't talk me all those things. Don't you know that smoking is injurious to health? You don't have to tell me, I have got a PhD on that paper. I got doctorate only on that analysis of ill effects of smoking. I wrote a big thesis on it. So don't give me knowledge. That's why to all of you I can't talk any knowledge because you are full with knowledge. Anybody, anything you talk, you contract. Anything. Therefore I will better not to talk Vedanta with you at all. To save myself. But knowledge is there, that's required. But the mind is not brought under discipline of intellect. So this is another sadhana. Then such a mind which is trained to be under the intellect and intellect is very well equipped and highly knowledge, and the gap between these two in the form of ego and egocentric desires are reduced and practically zero, perfectly when they become integrated intellect and mind, such a combination is so perfect that why is intellect? Excellent mental instrument. It's a perfect ideal couple, pair. So, the inner antarindriyam is divided into two, kartrutva and karanatva. Kartrutva is intellect, karanatva is, instrument is mind. But why there is no combination between these two, the samjhota, the understanding between these two? Because of ego and egocentric desires in between. I am seriously talking about it. What is the seriously? All those who study Vedanta, 1 or 2, 3 textbooks, 4 textbooks, 5 textbooks, 6, 7 camps you attended, nobody can talk to you. That's the truth. Because anybody talking, I know this. So what to do? But your mind is torturing you in spite of all knowledge. Therefore, these are to be integrated. When they are integrated, mind becomes perfect instrument, karana, and buddhi becomes perfect karta. What is to be done, the buddhi does. That's why for children I will tell them. For children, what is buddhi? Somebody asked. The children के लिए, बच्चों के लिए बोलता हूँ. To know what to do, how to do, when to do, where to do, why to do, how long to do is called buddhi. Then they will make them repeat. They say to know how to do, why to do, when to do, where to do, how long to do, what to do, when to do, where to do, why to do, how long to do. If you know, you are wise intellect. Kartrutva, karta. And mind is also trained to be under intellect. Whatever intellect says, trained intellect, mind obeys. Then you are, one great master, let me just remember him. In one of his profound books, he mentions in the initial stages, a person with high inspiration but lack of knowledge and understanding, certain noble qualities, in the absence of noble qualities, inspiration is high, destroys the team spirit and organizations. I becomes important. I will not work with anybody. I can't work with anyone. If you want me to work, I will work. Otherwise, I quit. I cannot tolerate people around me. Their thinking is different. My thinking is different. I go my way or you hit your way. To smoothen that intellect, it takes years and lives sometimes. Luckily, I read when I was studying 10th standard. तब से अभी तक बोला नहीं वो वाक्य. Over inspiration destroy the entire work of the organizations because of ego. So what is happening? Now you may have knowledge. Are you contributing? You became more destroyer. And you don't know that. Very typical. Pity is the person who is destroying the teamwork around doesn't know that I am destroying it. He or she feels, I am proud, I am doing so much to this place, to this organization, to this teamwork. Nobody recognizing me, nobody understanding me. So gelling is not there. Why? Ego. So these two to be integrated, intellect has to be trained separately, mind has to be trained separately. In between ego and egocentric and desires are to be eliminated. Then when these two come together, then they become so perfect thing. So you know what is to be done, why to do, etc., when to do, etc. Then mind surrenders to the intellect, and such a beautiful combination, you become a great spiritual master or a master of science or business or master of management. Wherever you are, you shine because of this integrated mind. So one is Kartrutva is inside, Antaha, within that intellect, divided. Both are Antarindriyam only. But inner face it is intellect, inside, outside is the mind. So, I see your mind. Mind is visible to the world outside. But what crooked intentions you have behind in the intellect, I cannot know. But everybody's mind is visible through actions. But what is your intention? I don't know. So I can become a victim. So intellect and mind has to be purified. So one is subtler, intellect is subtler, sukshma, antaha, mind is bahihi, outside. Both are inside only. In the inside only, one is inside, innermost, one is exterior, outside faced. So today we have analyzed what is the problem with our mind and intellect. And now, in the light of this knowledge, what we have seen today, you will know, in spite of your so-called knowledge, your mind is not listening to you. You think, first of all, knowledge is required to control the mind, to regulate the mind. That is required. But merely I gain knowledge, that is achieved a thing, nothing. You have to apply that knowledge. Gaining knowledge, application of the knowledge, and training the mind, taming the mind, cajoling the mind, teaching the mind. So this is the difference. Both are inside. Gap is so wide in some people. Mind is dancing, intellect is no knowledge, and gap is so much. Such a personalities are chaotic personalities. The individual suffers a lot. But we don't have that simple sense. Ego is so strong. Okay. But this is not, Vijnanamaya Kosha is not Atma because of so much of variations, changing, sometimes manifests, sometimes goes into deep sleep. This can't be Atma. No, Vijnanamaya Kosha is also not Atma. Now, Pranamaya Sharira, mind and intellect, three called Sukshma Sharira. Those prana sometimes manifest, sometimes doesn't manifest. Mainly mind and intellect is called Sukshma Sharira. Okay? So, Karana Sharira is this. Stula Sharira is over. Sukshma Sharira also is not Atma. Stula, Sukshma, Karana. So, Karana Shariram also is not Atma. What is Karana Shariram? Anandamaya Kosha. Vasanamaya. All those things are there. Let us see now. Anandamaya Kosha also is not Atma. What is Anandamaya Kosha? How many of you have heard when I was talking about Anandamaya Kosha from Vivek Chudamani? Exhaustively I spoke. If you remember anything in that. It is not that Anandamaya Kosha is only in deep sleep. I told you that. We think Anandamaya Kosha means only in deep sleep state you go to Anandamaya Kosha. No. In waking plane also you enter into Anandamaya Kosha many times. What is that? Kachidantarmukha vrittihi Ananda pratibimba bhaka Punya bhoge bhoga shanto Nidra rupena liyate Kachidantarmukha vrittihi Ananda pratibimba bhak Punya bhoge bhoga Apahimam. Now see. Listen carefully. Punya bhoge kachid antarmukha vrittihi. There is a kachid vrittihi. So some vritti is there. One thought, one kind of a thought. Listen carefully. Now you are visualizing the intellect, mind is thoughts, like a river, like a bucket of water, disk is formed, intellect, rest all is all mind. Our thoughts are plenty and the thoughts are illuminated by the reflected light of from the intellect. So intellect illumines all thoughts, but the source where the reflection of the takes place is one thought, that is buddhi. All that you should remember. So there is a buddhi, that particular. Now one thing, some thought, a rare thought, occasional thought, rare thought, punya bhoge, at the time of you are reaping the fruits of your good deeds. Punya bhoga. Some punya karma you have done. Punya karma ka phal hota hai. When you are experiencing the punya karma phala, punya karma phala, that time punya bhoge kachid antarmukha vrittihi, that punya bhoge, in the experiencing of that punya bhoga, you are experiencing the fruits of your meritorious deeds. At that time, the vritti becomes antarmukha. Okay, I will tell you. In the time of experiencing the fruits of good deeds, the thought becomes introverted and enters into the zone of that reflected consciousness. It basks directly in that zone and gets that joy of Brahman. Punya karma. So, kachid vrittihi punya bhoge antarmukha bhavati. Ananda pratibimba bhak. So, that vritti, antarmukha vritti, gets associated with the reflected pratibimba, reflected consciousness, associated with the reflection. Antarmukha vritti goes inside. Suppose this disc is there. Suppose suppose I'm just giving wild examples. You know, there is in some king's presence, whole room is so dark, only one hole will be there in the top, through which they give food, through which the sunlight also comes in daytime. In Golconda Fort, you go, Ramdas jail is like that. Light comes. Imagine, suppose it is very cold. When will he get happy? When he stands under the sun, basking under the sun, he feels so happy. Similarly, vritti antarmukha bhavati and enters into that associated with reflection. Okay? So, when you are experiencing the result of a good karma, at that time your thought becomes introverted. When you become introverted, you will also reflect. When you enter into that zone, you reflect, no? You reflect the consciousness inside. And that is called Anandamaya Kosha. Okay. Suppose a man is hungry on the road. You are going somewhere, but you park the car, you went to him. He says, I have not taken food. And you are going home after purchasing pizza and burger, etc. And you got a thought that Paramatma andar se awaaz di कि you are already fat with high cholesterol. What will you do by eating all the nonsense? He is dubla patla hai, उनको दे दो. First you resisted. मैं मशकूर से खरीदा. इनको ₹1 दे देंगे बस काफ़ी है. But somehow आपकी बुद्धि ठीक हो गई. You heard that inner आवाज़. Then you brought that pizza and burger, gave it to that poor man, and he was eating with great hunger. Vidurji says, extremely hungry man only knows the taste of food, not the rich people. You and I will never enjoy food, because we are never hungry before we eat. We don't eat when we are hungry. Without hungry only we are eating. Therefore we don't enjoy the food. Vidurji says that man enjoys the food, who is extremely hungry. And you are fed and he was so happy and thankful. Haath jod liya, pair pakda aapka. That all we never expected. But you came back home with a great joy that something, aaj acha kaam kiya. Punya karma, immediately so happy you are, the thought became inside introverted and experienced reflected consciousness, pure consciousness reflects in that vritti, antarmukha vritti. Antarmukha it became because of your good deed, and the vritti taken you to that zone, and then it started reflecting, and so happy you feel, and that happiness is called Anandamaya Kosha. That is called. And bhoga shantau nidra arupena leyate. When after the experience is over, whole day you got experience. Then at the end of that experience, where it will take? It will take you to nidra, bhoga shantau. That vritti, after that experience is over, bhoga shantau, nidra bhoga, that ananda bhoga you bhog, and you go into deep sleep state. And after doing good work a whole day and you got into sleep, that sleep is different from everyday sleep. Everyday sleep like this. Like that is everyday sleep. मच्छर काटता है, वो बीच में उठ जाता है, डर लगता है, सोचता है मैं जिंदा हूँ, मरा नहीं अभी. That is everyday sleep. After doing good work and you go and log a wood, 6 hours, 8 hours, 7 hours sleep. So refreshing. That's why if you want good sleep, do punya karma whole day. Bhoga shantau nidra arupena liyate. Then why Anandamaya Kosha also is not Atma? Such a Anandamaya is giving Ananda. Such a Ananda is giving. It is also not Brahman, Atman. Why it is not Atman? Tomorrow. Tomorrow hai na class? I thought you will give holiday to me. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnodachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai.